2 more minutes and we'll begin. And whomever comes in, wonderful. Hey, hi everybody. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Okay. So let's begin. Let's begin, y'all. So everyone has schedules, everyone has a lot to do. We're all mothers, we all wanna, finish as quickly as possible. This is our first shiur for women, which is very exciting for our Havra. My kids getting older, so I can do more stuff. Yay. So anyways, so let's begin, y'all. So good afternoon, everybody. So welcome to Rosh Chodesh Shabbat women's event. We were gonna do it both Zoom and in-house, but one planned something and Hashem planned something entirely different. So we had to go with the flow. So anyway, the title of the class is Back to Basics, the Divine Purpose of Women's Halachah. And welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And I would ask that we all are mindful of everyone's schedule. Like when we ask questions, it can get a lot longer. And the Halachah class is a subject that I really like. It can grow really extensive if we do Q&A. So if there's questions, anything at all, please please ask them in the WhatsApp group. But if there are ladies who are not part of the WhatsApp group, I will post a link at the very end of the shiur, so everyone who wants to be part of it can be part of it, and then everyone can ask all the questions that you want. And if text or whatever, that's best, because I have screaming children sometimes, and it's kind of hard to be on the phone. And if you have any comments, please free to do so. And so the reason why I decided to include the word back to basics is because I think it is wise for every human being to understand the why. I remember that why we're doing what we're doing. It's impossible to have within the grounds of Judaism. It's the mindset is that if you don't know the know-how and you don't know the why, then it's really hard to find the meaning of it and to be able to integrate that into your daily life and teach that to your mother and teach that to your children. But if you're not a mother, to be able to perform it, like to do it, and eventually when you don't know the why, and then you just do it because you're told, but you don't know the why, then you stop. We've seen this happen over and over again, that when a person doesn't know why, but just doing it, and especially when they're new to Judaism and they're trying to do like a mitzvah and just do it, but they don't really know, they cannot connect to it, then they're stopped because there's no meaning behind it. There's no foundation behind it. And so and the only way to do that is if you're cemented in the Torah, and halakha is just part of Torah. It's just how it is. And that's in the grounds of Judaism. We need halakha to understand what we're doing, where we come from, and what we're doing, what we're doing. It's kind of like for me, it's kind of like the ABC. When you are when you're teaching your kids phonics, but they don't know the ABCs, so how is that going to work, right? So and so today we're going to see about Yadayim, the Halachah-Netilat, and we're going to talk about a little bit about Rosh Chodesh and what is Rosh Chodesh. So and the reason I decided to title the class, the divine purpose of women's halacha, is because I do believe the halacha has a divine purpose, because it is the nochas mentioned before, how to perform a mitzvah, a commandment. And it is a blueprint that aids us in how to bring holiness in everything that we do in our daily lives. For instance, like we're mentioning right now, like how to do Yadayim, how to daven, like the hours when we should daven, like family purity, and so many other things. And halacha, I think, is to a benefit, not to a detriment. It's not a detriment to us. It's actually, for me, it's kind of like it gives us a structure and a closeness to Hashem, to get to know Him. And because the more holiness we bring into our lives, and we bring from the mundane to holiness, and I think it brings you closer. It brings you closer to Hashem. It's like the key factor is to do it, I think, with your whole self. And it's part of the Shema. And you shall love your Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. That is like what Hashem is trying to make us understand, that to love Him with our whole selves, that includes our mind. And we need to feed our mind with the right foundation to be able to do that. So, it's important to note that Judaism is a lifestyle. It's something that it's kind of, for people who are going through the conversion process, it's a lifestyle. It's kind of like we talked about it, my husband and myself so many times. And we try to explain to it as it's kind of like moving from one country to another, and you have to change mindset, you have to change lifestyle, you have to change, like, it's a complete move of the mind and mindset and way of life and family life. It's a big process for a person to go through, an entire family to go through. So that's why it's so important, the study of Torah, and therefore the study of halacha, and to be able, for the mother to be able to teach that and pass that on to your children, because we're the ones that do that. We are the ones that are raising those children. And I disagree sometimes that people have the kind of erroneous mindset that a woman is not supposed to teach Torah to the children, which is quite the opposite. A woman should. We are the ones that should be the most studious, the most, soaked in halacha as much as possible, because we are the ones that gear those children so they don't deviate from that path. So let's begin a little bit more about, and I'll talk about right now, what is Rosh Chodesh. So the Jewish people, they liken to the moon. Our brightness has waxed and waned through time. It has never gone out, and not even a complete darkness. So this is the one reason why we celebrate the first time the new moon appears, like it appears in the night sky. When it appears in the night sky, that's when we start celebrating. So Rosh Chodesh translates to head of the new moon. It is a day or two of festivities that usher a new lunar moon. So when is Rosh Chodesh? Jewish months have either 29 or 30 days. It depends on the moon cycle. Rosh Chodesh falls on the 30th day of the month that ends at the first day of the next month. So Rosh Chodesh is merely the first day of the new month after the 29th month. Rosh Chodesh begins at dusk on the day before, much like every other Jewish holiday. In the past, a Beit Din or Jewish court would not declare Rosh Chodesh unless two reliable witnesses had confirmed that they had seen the new moon. But it has been said by a predetermined calendar since the 4th century. And I actually recently found, I have a friend on Facebook. Her name is Hannah Bedet. She's a quite incredible person. She has such a depth of an understanding of, such a profound understanding of Hashem on Judaism, I think. And she posted this beautiful quote regarding Rosh Chodesh Shabbat. So I'm going to read it to you. And it says, today the moon begins a new cycle. Each month brings a shift in energy as a new life force flows, creating new possibilities and opportunities for our healing, growth, and transformation. Today begins Shabbat, a time of renewal. We are taught that in this month, the sap of the fruit of trees begin to rise and flow again. Whilst on the surface, things may seem lifeless, cold, damp, and bleak, hidden from sight. A process of renewal is underway with a regeneration of life force. In Judaism, we believe all of nature is a metaphor for the spiritual truths of life. May we all feel the hope and promise of new life, the power or potential to generate sweet, beautiful, and nourishing creations. May we trust in the process and envision the inevitable revelation of the fruits of our labors. Such a really profound quote, because right now, as we're going through everything that's going on in Israel, and I think in many ways, for such a horrible experience, many of us have really strengthened our closeness with Hashem on a deeper level, and we come to understand how life is still so incredibly precious, and like it's now or never, because you never know, like when, over there in Israel, they never knew if it's going to happen, what's going to happen. Like they never knew, like before, like on the 6th of October, everything was going to change for them on the next one. They didn't know this. So likewise, if one day we're fine and the next one, everything changes. So it's incredibly important for us to have a constant renewal of this closeness with Hashem, and on a daily basis as much as possible. And that's why I thought this quote was like so incredibly important to really mention this, because we do really need to find that renewal of the spiritual truth of life, and that can only come from closeness with Hashem. So we're gonna move on right now to Modéani and the halakha behind it. So we recite Modéani aloud while we're still in bed in the morning, in the first mitzvah a woman should perform to express her gratitude to Hashem, from Miryam her neshama back to her after it has ascended to heaven the previous night. As we were mentioning before, it's so important to have that constant thankfulness to Hashem, and not just us women, but everybody. And since Modéani is one of the most beautiful prayers one can ever do, and one cannot do without, because as I mentioned before, one day we're fine, the next we're not. And so it's important to be incredibly thankful and give out to Hashem every day. Now, Modéani does not contain the name of Hashem and is not considered tefillah. It is acceptable to be spoken even before a woman has performed a negel gasser netilat yadayim. According to some poskim, a lady should pronounce the initial word moda, not modeh. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky in the Sefer Eilet Todot, page 89, that's the source. Halichot Shlomo Tefillah 2. And so it's best to take, it's actually mentioned in as part of the halakha, it's best to take, I think it's beautiful, to take a breather between melech and chai. It is appropriate to speak rabbah and emunatecha together. And I think when the rabbis say this, because when you think about it, when you take a breath and really breathe it in, and you actually bring it to front of your consciousness, you make it present. So Melech High. Think of those words, Melech, King, High. Like this is such a, think about it and really internalize those two things. You're actually acknowledging Hashem is the King of Kings. So let's move on a little bit more. What is the meaning of the word nekavaser? Nekavaser is it's the Yiddish word for in Hebrew Yadayim, and it's mostly used in Ashkenaz communities. Not so much, well, not really on the Sephardic community. It is a custom of washing our hands as soon as we wake up in order to wash each hand 3 times. One fills a cup with water and pours it upon each hand in turn. I'm mentioning all of this because we have members right now that they're starting their journey with in Judaism, and they're just learning everything from scratch. So that's why I'm mentioning all terms that a few of our ladies already are fully aware of it, and they're already going through this already in their daily lives. Let's move on. The legal expert known as posek or poskim. Poskim is the approved form. And they established the status of halakha. The Jewish religious regulations inherited from the Rebbetzin and oral Torah in issues involving Jewish law, in which the opinions of earlier authorities are disputed in, or in which there is a lack of clear halakhic precedent. So Netilat Yadayim, or hand washing, it follows immediately after reciting Modeh Ani. One should wash their hands unless she intends to go back to sleep. She should resist the urge to stay in bed. She should go wash her hands right away after deciding she's ready to for the day. So Hassad advises against getting out of bed too quickly. Again, it's always our just always trying to make us find that kind of breath, and when we do, to be aware of what we're doing and not to do things automatically. That's why they're telling us that, or like urge the just like the kind of feeling of getting up like quickly, to really acknowledge it, like get up and calmly and do and say Modeh Ani. So Hassad advises like I said, against getting out of bed too quickly, and again, that's why, because they want you to be conscious of what you're doing. So since they're saying it's better to get out of bed gradually, and many people keep a negavaser, which is again Netilat Yadayim, the washing cup, and the negavaser again is a term that is a Yiddish term, and it's mostly used in Ashkenaz communities. They rather keep it next to their beds, along with a cup of water. In our case, in my family, we can't do that because I have little kids, and the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to be turning it over, and it's going to be a mess. So that just depends. I mean, one is the ideal, and the reality is another, because especially I got my boys, and the first thing I'm going to do is that. So anyways, let me see. So we have it, like you said, we're mentioning that we have it in our kitchen, so it's okay to have it by the sink, and have it in our well, you have it into our house. Most of you got Apple, so we have it in the kitchen by the sink, and that's okay to do that if you cannot have it in your room. So how to do Netilat Yadayim? It is best to hold a cup in your right hand, fill it, and then transfer it to your left, pouring water in each hand 3 times in succession, starting with your right, to remove the ruach ra'ah, or it's also called the spiritual impurity that lies in a person's hands in the morning. Because when you get up, you're getting up out of bed, well, your hands are not clean, and you don't even know, like you've been, touching parts of the bed, and your hands are dirty, basically. So you should rotate between right and then left, and then left, and then right, and then left. When I repeat, first right, you rotate between right and then left, and then left, and then right, and then the end left. Many people adhere to the Vilna Gaon's practice of washing his hands 4 times in total on each hand. According to some poskim, washing your hands 4 times is acceptable even on Tisha B'Av or in even Yom Kippur. When they are washing, when they have washing hands, one should only wash up to their knuckles. What we do is that first in the morning when we're gonna do until Yadayim, I wash first from my hands from here up to the elbow, and then I do Netilat Yadayim to make sure that my hands, everything between my hands is all clean. And let me see. Let me go through. I have to went through everything. Okay. It's recommended, and I think it should be done. Why should have a washing cup designated to Netilat Yadayim? You can find all these Zion cups, washing cups, Amazon, everywhere. I mean, most places you can find it right away. And there's different types, and it's really inexpensive. There's some that they come like plastic. I think they're like really $2, $2 to $4. So if you're on a budget, it's still feasible to do it. To be able to buy from the mitzvah, there's $2 to $4, and it's gonna be simple washing cup, and it's still, I encourage you to buy it if you don't have it. So a revi'i is at least 3.3 ounces shall be present inside the cup. So inside the cup, you should fill it up to 3.3 ounces. We did fill it all the way up because our kids, right? And it's just like sometimes they just pour too much or whatever, but halachically it's up to 3.3 ounces. So we should try to avoid throwing it away. Do not have disposable. That's best not to do that. Or if you can buy, like, for example, if you cannot afford buying a different material of a washing cup, have 2 disposable ones. So regarding the Ruach Ra, the Rachamim state in the Talmud Shabbat 108b that it was once taught that before washing one's hands in the morning, one should take care to ensure that they do not come into contact with their mouth, nose, eyes, ears before or after sleeping. They call it like the evil spirit known as Ra that rests upon one's hands to have the potential to harm those organs. The Ra will not vanish until he washes his hands 3 times in succession. This will remove any risk associated with contacting any of his body cavities. Mostly they had this because they were trying to convey that the cleanness, like kind of the hygiene in people. Like, yeah, obviously, if you're touching your mouth, if you're touching your ears, if you're touching your eyes, well, your hands are not going to be clean. So they were trying, like, in some ways, they were trying to convey that you need to have hygiene in order to before performing a mitzvah, you need to do that. So what is the revi'i? 8 fluid ounces. It is a conventional measurement of a cup, as is stated in the recipes on measuring cups. So a revi'i is therefore an equivalent of a half a cup. That is like 8 ounces. So so I was mentioning, like, it can be either 8 ounces or the minimum is 3.8 ounces on the inside the washing cup. Either is minimum 3.3 ounces, or the best thing is 8 ounces inside the washing cup. So, okay. I think it's important also to know who I mentioned in Vilna Gaon. Vilna Gaon was one of the most influential rabbis in the Jewish history. And his full name was Rabbi Eliyahu ben Shlomo Salman. He was known as the Vilna Gaon. So all of the rulings come from him. Here we go. It's another one thing. It's important to note that washing without a washing cup. If you're traveling and you forgot your washing cup, that's one, especially, it has happened to me. Because when you travel, it's just so many stuff to handle. And with little kids, it's really difficult. And the first thing sometimes it goes will be the washing cup. It happened to me one time when we were traveling. So it's important to know this. So in the event that there isn't a cup that you can use for Yadayim, you can use a faucet. A woman should turn it on and off 6 times while alternating between submerging their hands in the water stream. This is based on the Shulchan Aruch, it's 159.9. Assuring that the flow has ceased, but before putting each hand under the faucet in the correct technique while using an electronic eye faucet. You know, those that you put like the sensor ones, and you put your hand like that. That's what I'm talking about. Like you put your hand and then start doing like that, if possible. If there is no lack of water and normal circumstances exist, one should wash up to the wrist. So I'll do a little more, but they're saying up to the wrist, but I do a little more. This is based on the Mishnah of Berurah 4:9. If this isn't done, it's sufficient if the water gets to the knuckles, connecting the fingers and hands. If there's not much water available, wash each hand 3 times, but only up to the knuckles connecting to the fingers. So this is when you don't have any water at all. And midi the manaki, or something that can clean hands, for instance, like the disinfectant. That's what they're talking about. Should be used to wipe hands when one wakes up in the morning without access to water. For instance, in the Shulchan Aruch, OSC 422, it states that one can utilize a piece of wood or rock or fabric. So those little wipies that you have, like you can buy at any grocery store that have like disinfectant in it, you can use that. Wiping both hands really is advised, but it's not necessary to do it so 3 times. So in a particular order, based on the Mishnah Berurah 57, nevertheless, one must exercise caution to avoid touching their lips or eyes. Next, instead of saying that Yadayim, one says a bracha that speaks of washing one's hands. Yadayim. This is based on Shulchan Aruch. But Sephardim would not say the bracha at all because it's not a Talmudic established version. A lot of the things that we do in the Sephardic communities, we based it on the Talmud. So further mourning matters. I think it's important to mention that one should rinse one's mouth every morning. It's based on the Shulchan Aruch OC 4:17 and the Mishnah Berurah 4:9. In order to daven and recite berachot with a purified mouth, in order to look our best before Hashem, one should be also cleanse their face every morning because we're presenting ourselves before the King of Kings. One should be presentable. One should not be on our pajamas and like with our hair all over and our dirty up and because you're presenting before. It's like you're going to a palace and people wear the best garments. That's exactly when you go before Hashem and you're gonna daven, you're before the King of Kings and you should present yourself as before a king. So let me see, let's go over here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is washing with a chasitza. When washing, one should ideally follow the halachot of washing bread with Halachah-Netilat cup before eating bread. But the laws of when washing hands are less stringent, it's best to eliminate the chasitza. It's a separation on the hand that prevents water from penetrating the skin. Adhesive bandages or rings are among examples. Once you remove every single little thing that you have in your hands before you're gonna do Netilat Yadayim. Even the bandages. If you have one, remove it. If you have a little cut, just remove it into Netilat Yadayim, and then have one handy so you can replace it for a new one. Let's see. And again, when you're gonna be like kneading the dough, when you're gonna be doing a challah, it's also best to remove everything from your hands, not have absolutely nothing in your hands. So this is based on the Mishnah Berurah 161:19. So recite the bracha al Yadayim in the plural, even if you're not allowed to get wet while wearing a cast on your hand. So in case, God forbid, that you have a cast and you fracture your hand or whatever, you're allowed to get wet. You're allowed to get the cast wet. It's okay. And this is based on a Peskevet Teshuvot 162:16. And let me see. So, what is a chasitza? Most people don't know what that is. A chasitza is a foreign object, or even the body itself, in an unnatural position that interposes between the body and the water. Like a ring is something that interposes the body from the water. So that's why it's important that you remove it. So the ra'ra'ah, we were talking about that before. The mouth, nose, ears, and eyes should not be touched because the ra'ra'ah, the defiled spirits, that's what they call it, that settles on hands before washing negavasev or Netilat Yadayim. Negavasev is like is the Yiddish word for Netilat Yadayim. In the Hebrew is Netilat Yadayim. This is due to the potential negative effects of the ra'ra'ah. There is a disagreement over whether this means to touch the surface as well as the inside of those holes. As a result, it is preferable to avoid touching any part of the body, including the exterior of Mishnah Berurah Ibid 12. Use a garment or piece of cloth to place it between your fingers and your body if you feel the need to touch or scratch the inside of your mouth, ears, other bodily parts. This keeps one's physical body from coming into contact with the ra'ra'ah. So, regarding the ra'ra'ah, this is I think it's important to mention this. We think that it's a concept. We're talking about it with my husband and I. We're trying to research as to where does that come from. And it's actually, it may be based upon an ancient Israelite memory of pagan practice, such as the worship of Baal. As many variations of Baal as the prince of flies, when there are feces, you find flies. And in the Torah, when the children of Israel were in the wilderness, the latrine or wherever they went, and was to be outside of the camp. So this stayed in the memory of people associating filth and foul smell with uncleanness and therefore evil. So that transferred on to generations and generations and generations. And well, in different communities, well, there's this concept too, but it's important also to know why that is ingrained in Judaism. So as you see, it's really important to know the ins and outs of a mitzvah. And it's also very important to understand that if you're new to Judaism or you're going through a conversion process, that you take it one bit at a step at a time. Take one mitzvah at a time. Don't try to take a bunch of things, a bunch of the mitzvot, to perform them when you're just brand new. It's because it's going to overwhelm you and it's going to burn out yourself and your family. And it's best just to grab one mitzvah and make it a habit, understand why, internalize it, and then get another mitzvah and do the same thing. And learn it, the inside out, and why, and the hows, and why you're performing it, and then make it a habit in your family, so that all of you together and we'll take that what together, each step at a time together. And I will also suggest, okay, I would suggest that you have conversations with your family, and talk about the mitzvah, and talk about what you learn, talk about why you're doing what you're doing, and let your children, bring their input and why they think, what they feel about it. It's really important to have open conversations especially when you're making changes in your family life, which is, again, Judaism is a lifestyle change. So it's best to have that open communication, because there might be some things that they were not used to doing and now they're doing, and it's best to have like, okay, well, here's why we're doing what we're doing. How do you feel about it? And let's do it together, and have them express themselves. And that is pretty much it for the shiur. I wanted to be as short as possible, and talk about one specific mitzvah at a time, and so that everyone has time to digest it and think about it, because I believe that a lot of the ladies that got into the group didn't start with the Google Doc that I was providing. So I thought it would be important that to start also the video series, because if you think about it, in Judaism, everything is cyclical. Like, for instance, like high holidays, we study the same stuff every high holiday, every Yom Kippur, every Rosh Hashanah. We understand the meaning of Rosh Hashanah. We internalize it. We go through it every single year. So we are cyclical. It's a life cycle of every Yom Tov, every festivity, every single year. So it's okay. It's okay if you don't get something now, you're gonna get it later. So be patient with yourself and with your family members. Give them the time they need to get that mitzvah, and for them to find the meaning of it. So it's supposed to be a journey that's supposed to be enjoyable. It's not supposed to be a journey that becomes overwhelming. And so please, let me share, because I don't know if there's any ladies who want to be part of the Halakha group, of the WhatsApp group. Anybody who wants to be part of it? You want me to post it or not on the group, on the chat here on Zoom, and I can post the link. Anybody? Let me see on the chat. I'm doing it on my phone. Does anyone want to be part of it? You're free to unmute and let me know, and I can post it. Let me see. Let me check over here. I'm gonna post I'm gonna post the link to the group, if that is okay with y'all. Let me see, on the chat, and please feel free to share it with other ladies that you think that will benefit. Let me see. Okay, so there's the link, and also my phone number. I'm gonna provide it for y'all too. Feel free to text me, and so you have any questions, anything at all. Well, the recording, I'm gonna upload the recording on YouTube, and you'll have it there too. You can go back and review. Also, if you are part of the group, there's every time we go through every quote unquote lesson, it's updated. I have a Google Doc that's updated every time, but I also thought it would be useful for everyone to review in a video. And sometimes people are would rather audiovisual than reading. It's just hard for them to focus on reading. So I wanted to have both backups. A person that can read, if that's what they feel that's best for them, or a person that they have a video, either audiovisual. So, or they can have both. So let me see. Let me see. And we have the Haburaz. We have the Haburaz YouTube channel. So the video is going to be uploaded there. I'm going to be posting it on the group as well. So let me know, ladies, if you can see the link. Because I don't know if you guys can see it. I have posted a link in my phone number. I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's, please share it if you feel free to share it. And the more the better, the more the merrier. And so anyway, that's pretty much it, y'all. And I'm gonna be edited this little part, and so hopefully it will be up today, and everyone can review it as much as they need to. And so next Sunday, we're gonna have every Sunday we're gonna have like a shiur, so we can go as fast as possible. Every Sunday we're gonna be doing that. So because halakha is a very extensive. I think we're going through 20 pages, and right now I have on the Google Doc is 50 pages, because I'm doing mostly like a commentary of explanation, definitions, and everything. So and after the end of the course, it's going to be a book given to you guys, so that you can have that backup as well and go through it. It's going to come with pictures. It's going to come as detailed as possible as I can give it. So it can be shared with your family members. It can be shared with your friends who are thinking of converting, with like friends that are new to Judaism, friends that just want to know. And because we think that it's extremely important in order to fight anti-Semitism, it's important to do it through education. And the more openness, the better. So that's it, you guys. And like I said, I hope that you have a wonderful week. And for the locals, they're right now in the chat. Bundle up. It's gonna get cold. And be safe, please. Please be safe. And yes, bye, you guys.